From the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com, you're listening to The Brian and Vinny Show with your hosts, Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
All right, everybody, it is the Brian and Vinny Show here on Sunday. It is the 17th, I believe, of February. Not sure what day it is anymore. Got a lot to get into. Elimination Chamber. Largely a bad show.
Yes.
Good main event. Like the main event.
Yep.
But yeah, let's get into the show here. There's a lot to talk about.
Well then, WWE Elimination Chamber, obviously February 17th, 2019. The opening match, which I guess is news in and of itself. The Elimination Chamber match to crown the quote-unquote first ever women's tag team titles.
You know, I just want to mention, by the way, Observer Live went off the air. I predicted this match would go on first. Why? Get it the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. This, as a main event...
It did not look good going in.
Holy God.
And there was no other match on the show where you say, like, oh, man, let's start with a hot match to kick the thing off. Like, unless you're going to do the men's chamber. Men's chamber should not have gone on first.
No.
Can you imagine this match? I guess maybe because the babyfaces won, you could have argued this one should have gone on last, and they could have done a big speech and that sort of thing, but we had Kofi getting beloved at the end of the show, so I think that's enough of a babyface ending to me. I did not need to see this match go on last.
This may have... Putting this match on last would have made this a significantly worse pay-per-view, and it wasn't very good to begin with.
No.
So, the teams are Naomi and Carmella, Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, the Iconics, Nia Jackson, Tamina, and the two teams that started the match, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
So I was told during this show that originally the Iconics were going to go out first. And in the middle of the show, a new format was brought out to the announcers with changes. And as a result, Carmella, who's been in a little bit of hot water of late.
She's been in the news.
And Naomi, who's been in a little bit of hot water of late. They're a team.
Yeah, funny how that works.
They were eliminated first. And they were
eliminated first and they entered last.
Yeah, they entered last. They were out first. That was the end of that. Yeah, Iconics got to last a little bit longer. I don't know why, because the Iconics, God bless them, they're... Here's the thing with this show. There's so many things on this show. Like, I don't want to complain about everything. You know what I'm saying? But there's so many things on this show. Like, the Iconics are geeks. Do you know what I'm saying? They have no credibility. Of all of the teams in this chamber, they're the team with the least credibility. Okay? They barely ever win. They're never pushed as anything special. They're always beaten. They do their goofy interviews, and they're out there, and they're just the lowest rung on the totem pole. They come in here, they start beating everybody's asses. You know what I'm saying? They beat everybody's asses for 5 straight minutes when they finally got out there. And it's like, why? Why would the Iconics push this hard? Maybe they were given the role that Carmella and Naomi were supposed to have. All I know is I watched this and I thought, man, they're making everybody look like such geeks out there selling for the Iconics. Let's start at the beginning.
Well, the beginning was first Naomi and Carmella were the first team to come out for the match. And I will say this, they have a hell of an entrance.
Naomi and Carmella? What are you talking about? It was Mandy and Sonya.
I mean, coming down the ramp with music playing.
I see, okay.
Their entrance.
All right.
That's why I said they have a hell of an entrance.
I see.
I didn't mean when they got into the cage.
Yeah, you said they were out first, so I thought you meant like
they
in
were.
the actual chamber.
Yeah. So yes, the opening teams were Mandy and Sonya and Sasha and Bayley. Corey Graves was still on commentary.
Yeah.
Which had a lot of little moments, which we'll get to.
All night long. Hey, by the way, when you mentioned the entrances, everybody got their entrance.
Yeah.
So on the format sheet, this match was listed as going 58 minutes from the first person's entrance to the end of that promo. Can you imagine?
That would have been bad.
It didn't go quite that long, but it went too long.
Well, 5 minutes would have been too long for most of it. Let's see. We got a new chamber. The chamber itself is a new building. There's more room on the outside to do stuff. There's pads. It's not falling on steel, which is great news. And there's more room on top of the pods to do stuff up there, and jump off them without hitting the roof and stuff. So it's all an improvement. Oh, let's see. Graves is still doing his gimmick, which we now know is a gimmick. I think we can confirm that, of drooling over Mandy like she's the hottest woman in the world.
I don't know if that's a gimmick, but...
Well, regardless, he's doing this, and Renee notes that her exact words were, "This is a little uncomfortable for everyone." You don't say. Beth Phoenix also out there, because what this match needed was more announcers flapping their gums, wasting my time.
Yes.
And also, she was sure to mention the Glamour Girls and the Jumping Bomb Angels, because you see, these are not the first ever tag team champs in company history.
I can't believe they mentioned that.
Yeah, well...
But she didn't mention that they were champions. She just mentioned them as teams.
I guess that's true.
Yes, yes.
So the only thing that notable that happened in these first 5 minutes was that Mandy got her foot stuck in the cage, and I legit couldn't tell if it was an accident or not.
Well, she was trying to get it out, but I don't know how she couldn't, so I presume it was on purpose.
Right, but then she got, snapped down, was, for a minute, hanging by her foot.
Yeah, I think that was a plan.
Maybe. So, Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan were the next team in, and at this point, it got better throughout the show, but the first hour of this pay-per-view was nothing but the worst camera work you've ever seen in your life.
And a dead crowd.
But all I know is they hit the ring, and there's close-ups, and there's pans, and there's zooms, and cuts, and I can't tell what the hell was going on. So Bayley and Sasha are the only two good wrestlers in the match at this point, so they're outside, as the other four are having one horrendous brawl in the middle of the ring. The Iconics are in next. They've been a Tower of Doom spot, so everyone was down. I will say this, one of the few positive things in this match, when the Iconics entered and everyone was already down and they frantically ran wild trying to pin people and everyone just kicked out, that was funny.
It's funny because they're a joke team.
Sure.
But then they beat everyone's ass.
And it sucked.
God.
It was fucking horrible.
Dude.
The worst of it was when, I don't even know what the hell they were trying to do. Sasha and Bayley are outside on, for lack of a better word, the apron. Their feet are pointed towards the ring. And Peyton, I think, did a slingshot helo over the ropes.
Oh, yeah, kicked her right in the face.
So she kicked her in the face, but even if she hadn't kicked her in the face, what were they trying to do?
I think
a rolling somersault onto two people?
They were trying to do a rolling senton onto both of them.
What a horrible idea.
But she came up short and kicked her right in the face.
So, let's see.
Carmella and Naomi are next, and we get Corey Graves' chance.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Man.
There was a spot where everyone climbed the cage and then just climbed back down. Somebody was doing a Hurricane Rana, the camera cut away mid-move. And so Mandy is squaring off with Naomi, and Renee has to note that one of these women is mad at the other because the other woman tried to steal her husband.
Yes.
And then she notes that the woman who was messing with the husband deserves a beating.
Yes.
The metatextual commentary in this match was actually amazing in hindsight. It's just fascinating. So, the Iconics pinned Naomi.
Oh, Geek of the Week.
Didn't last 5 minutes.
There's a lot of Geek of the Weeks on this show here.
I must correct myself. They were the second to last team in, Carmella and Naomi. The last team was Tamina and Nia. So they came in, and suddenly we got just more close-ups. All I could see was hair. I don't know what's happening. There was movement and hair. That's all I can tell you for a while here. The Iconics tried to hide in a pod. They failed. They got pinned like geeks, as it turns out. We had Nia having to sell for the Riot Squad. Nia is atrocious. Sasha and Bayley are trying to do Thez presses. I assume it's the other women's fault, but these Thez presses looked awful. There was some sort of horrible slingshot spot where I don't know what they were trying to do, or if, I think someone was out of position, but I'm not sure. All I know is everyone fell down and started looking at each other. We had the Riot Squad doing dives off the top of a pod. We barely saw it because the camera work was so shitty. I think Nia hit a Samoan drop, but I couldn't tell because the camera work was so shitty. And then Tamina hit a splash to eliminate the Riot Squad.
Corey Graves says, I know my daughters are glued to the TV waiting to see who will be the new tag team champions.
Yeah, I bet they're not.
We don't know, Vinny.
I guess it's possible.
These are allegations.
They are all allegations.
They are all allegations.
But it's rough times. I shouldn't make fun of his daughters, but things are not going well. So the final two teams now are Mandy Rose and Selena Deville and Sasha Banks and Bayley. And I think for the second time in this match, they all just climbed up on top of a pod and then just climbed back down.
Yeah, can someone answer this question for me? Why was everybody climbing up the side of the cell?
Where were they going?
All night long.
Was there candy up there?
People are climbing the side of the cell. I could not figure out why. And then, dude, how many rope breaks did we see tonight?
A bunch.
Okay, Tom Phillips even said there's no rope breaks. We're in a chamber, okay? But the wrestlers, either they don't know or it's just instinctual, but like they put on these holds, somebody would get the ropes, they'd break the hold.
Yes.
It's almost like, why even bother mentioning it's no DQ? Like, if the wrestlers, here's the thing, if the wrestlers are going to forget, I guaranteed 99% of the fans are going to forget. So don't tell them during the show that there's no rope breaks in the chamber when there's going to be 50 rope breaks throughout the rest of the night. Just don't mention it unless it comes into play in the storyline, which, by the way, it never did.
No.
There was no point where somebody wanted a break, but the heel wouldn't let him and the ref couldn't do anything because there's no rope breaks in a chamber match.
So after climbing down from the pod, Bailey somehow hurt her shoulder. Don't know what happened.
She got thrown into the metal gimmick.
So the double teaming Sasha hit her with Angel's Wing. She kicks out of that. And then Sonya bonks into Mandy in a wonky spot. And Sasha taps out Mandy with the, speaking of wonky, this toe hold choke thing she had.
Okay, listen. This was good, Vinny.
Okay.
You don't watch Raw.
Right.
So the story for the last 2 weeks is that Sasha hurt herself, I guess, in the match with Ronda Rousey, and she could not get cleared. Legitimately, she couldn't get cleared, by the way. So for the last 2 weeks, she hasn't been able to do anything, and Bayley has had to do all of the work for both of them. So it finally comes down to the end of this match, and Bayley gets hurt. Sasha has to do all the work for both of them to win the titles. And because her shoulder is bad, she is unable to apply the bank statement. And so she must do this wacky hold using her foot because she can't use her shoulder. That was a great finish.
Sure.
Psychologically, a great finish. If this match was, I don't know how long it was, probably 35 minutes long. I'll try and get the exact time for everybody here.
It was at least 20.
No, it was way more than that, homeboy.
I said at least.
At least. If this match was 35 minutes long, it sucked for 25 minutes. That be fair?
I would say it sucked for 30, but yeah, the when it got down to two teams, it was a perfectly fine little wrestling match.
All right.
Everything up till that sucked.
The match itself went 33 minutes.
Okay, then for 28 minutes,
I'd say 25 minutes it sucked. I'll give you the last 8 minutes, it was pretty good. But, I mean, let's be fair here, okay? The first 25 minutes of this match sucked.
Undeniably.
The last 8 minutes were good, and it was a very good finish.
Yes.
And it was a finish that made sense psychologically. So that's the fairest thing that you can say about this match.
I don't disagree with any of that. So they're doing a promo, the Boss and Hug Connection. Was it my imagination, or are they getting a massively mixed reaction?
Well, no, the fans were chanting, "You deserve it," which may have sounded like boos.
I heard lots of boos. Unless it was, "You deserve it."
Could have been.
You deserve
Hey.
it, which is a new one, I guess. I believe they were actually weeping.
Oh, yeah, Sasha always weeps.
So was Bailey. They were so moved, they had trouble even putting a sentence together, and thus it was not a good promo.
Nobody knows how hard we have fought to get these titles. If we legit only knew, they said, how hard they worked to get these titles. I believe their time was cut on the promo.
Well, I kind of hope so, because they weren't saying much. The last thing before we move on, I've forgotten where it happened exactly, but at some point in this match, it was mentioned that Sasha and Bayley had a lifelong dream
Yes.
of winning the WWE Women's Tag Team titles.
Yeah.
Sasha was born, you see, and immediately wanted to team with Bayley and win the tag team titles.
Which didn't exist.
Right. It was an impressive
Yeah.
dream.
And the announcers are out there weeping. And listen, I've said this a million times, okay? My kids' jiu-jitsu class, 80% of the kids are girls. I'm all for women's empowerment, okay? Why are we weeping over WWE Women's Tag Team Champions? It's not even a new belt. They had women's tag team champions in the fucking 1980s, okay? If you want to cry about the fact that for 20 years they did bullshit with the women, you can cry about that if you want to. I have no idea why we're weeping that we have crowned new women's tag team champions.
So then we have another announced team, but Graves is still there.
Yeah, because he's on Raw and SmackDown.
He's a busy man.
He sure is.
Miz and Shane versus the Usos. I still can't believe this match happened. This Miz and Shane thing is a thing. Miz comes out for a promo. Dedicates this match to his family. His father, his family, and of course his lovely wife Maurice. And out comes Maurice. And Miz says, "We have a huge announcement." And I thought to myself, well, they already have a baby. How huge could this announcement be? And the announcement is, we're having another baby.
They wasted no time.
Well, good for them.
They wasted no time.
Congratulations to the two of them. Congratulations also to the fan who chanted, "You still got it," and got Miz to acknowledge him that he does, in fact, still got it. So, Miz is the worker of his team. Think about that. He falls on his ass in the very first spot. They run wild for a while. Miz and Shane do. It's not
10 months after the baby was born.
That's about as fast as you can go, as I understand it.
That's pretty quick.
I remember my biology classes. So the Usos got the heat with a camera zoom, and they worked Miz over with many other camera zooms. Shane got a hot tag, and I immediately regretted making fun of the camera work. I wanted to fade to black.
Shane's comeback.
Do you people realize how shitty Shane McMahon is?
No, they don't. They think he's awesome.
I'm talking to the listeners at home.
About half probably realize it. The other half either are imagining things or they're just, I don't know. He was so fucking terrible in his comeback. He was out of control. He fell down doing his moves. He looked like he was going to kill somebody. And by the way, the crowd didn't even care.
No.
And I swear to God, by the way, when the match started, 30 seconds in, Shane tags in, and he ran over to do a coast-to-coast dropkick.
Yes.
He got cut off, okay?
He has one move.
So he makes a tag, and what does he do? He falls down a couple of times, and he goes right for the coast-to-coast. He fucking hits it, and he comes up looking like he's about to die. Like, he's about to die. He goes up to do another one. He gets super kicked out of midair. Now he is dead for a little while.
So Miz goes it alone. He preps a table and calls for Shane. "Shane, buddy, come jump off the top rope and put him through this table." You've never seen a man labor to climb something like Shane McMahon got up these top ropes. And then he's standing on the top rope. The guy does have balance, I'll give him that. He has balance and leaping ability. No denying this.
And falling ability. And he's very, very good at that.
He works well with gravity. He and gravity cooperate together. When he's standing on the top rope, huffing and puffing and sweating and red,
his eyes rolling.
This is not a healthy man. This is not good, man. So, I mean, the jumping over the table is the least of his problems. He jumped into a table. Match continues for a while. Here's the finish. And actually,
this is an amazing. There were some amazing finishes on this show.
Not that any of you could possibly forget this finish, but I do want you to remember it when we get to the main event. Miz hits the skull-crushing finale, his finisher. He lays on top of the man and makes a cover, but whichever Uso it was, reverses that cover into a cradle and pins him.
Yes.
Miz got beat after hitting his own move.
That is exactly what happened. He hit his finisher, which led to his own demise.
Yes.
What?
Don't know.
And then Miz apologized to Shane after the match, and fuck after that finish. There's another Geek of the Week. That's two so far.
Yeah, I hope you have a tally. The Geek of the Week tote board. There's going to be some strong contenders. This was mostly sloppy shit. I will say some of it was at least memorable.
They don't want these Usos to leave. To be abundantly clear here. Uso he didn't fight with the police, but he threatened to fight the fucking police last week.
I heard.
Won the tag titles here.
Dasha.
Everyone should pray their contract come due.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. There's a lot of that going on.
And everybody who has loyally signed a long-term deal,
you're screwed.
Fuck you. Too bad for you, motherfucker.
You're
going to suffer.
You're trapped.
Yes.
You belong to us. Dasha is backstage trying to drive a wedge between Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley, implying that Lio is the weak link of the team and could cost Bobby his title.
No shit. The 5'2" man might be the weak link next to Bobby fucking Lashley.
Yeah. So Lio Rush and the haircut had a great look, and he had a great body and tattoos and this cool hair that made him stand out. They made him cut his hair. Is this a short buzz cut? He looks like any guy. Why did they do that?
They change everyone's look.
So it's Finn Balor versus the team of Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, wherein Finn can win the Intercontinental title by pinning either man. So the match is mostly Finn getting beat up in a boring manner. Have they ever considered doing Lashley and Lesnar?
Well, I don't know if they're considering it, but I do know that if you watch Raw, they keep having Lashley come out and talk about how he does everything better than Lesnar.
Okay, well,
Maybe they will do it someday.
because it seems like something they have not done that they really should do.
It seems right up Vince's alley.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also
Two
part
big
of it.
muscle men.
Yes. So, let's see. Lashley is about to win the match with a spear when, of course, Leo tags himself in and immediately misses a splash. And at this point, the match gets, well, frankly, kind of weird. Finn and Leo get to their feet, and now Finn realizes he has Leo Rush isolated. And as long as he can stop a tag, he's got this thing in the bag. So
He's the baby face.
we get keep away. They play tag as Leo's trying to run around and Finn is fast enough to block his path. He runs wild a bit. He did at least knock Lashley off the apron and then hit a big dive onto both of them. But then he throws Leo back in because you see his only chance to win. He doesn't want to beat Lashley. He wants to beat Lashley's little brother here, his little buddy, and pin him and steal the belt. So he hits a coup de grace on Leo. He pins him. He's the new Intercontinental Champion. And then when Lashley gets in the ring, Finn Balor runs away.
Yes.
What in the hell was this?
It was bad booking. Yeah, it was weird because not only that, I mean, forget all that.
I wish I could.
Finn starts his comeback. It's like he's just getting going, and he won. He stole the title from Bobby Lashley by pinning the little guy, the manager. Yeah. Then he ran for his life, and it was such an effective finish that the fans began to chant for Bobby Lashley. Lashley threatened to kill Leo, but then decided not to. Everyone booed him, and so he grabbed him and he killed him with something resembling a freak accident.
It was a big guy picking up a small guy and throwing him down.
Yeah.
It sort of looked like a freak accident. It sort of looked like a choke slam. It sort of looked like a spine buster. In the end, it was a big, strong man grabbing a small, strong man and throwing him around.
This was not a bad match.
It was just weird.
It told a story. Everyone was good at their job, but they were assigned a strange task.
Yeah.
They completed it, and that was the end of that.
They did. They completed their strange task. Never has a description for a match been so apt.
Yes, thank you.
Commercial for the Mark Henry special. And then we watched about 3 minutes of it after the pay-per-view ended. This looked really good.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
I might go home and watch this. We have footage from a house show of the suspended Becky Lynch attacking Charlotte.
Another Geek of the Week. So Charlotte is beating up Asuka. Becky, who is suspended, runs in to make the save, and she has her ass beaten by Charlotte. Unmercifully. That'll teach her.
So, Charlotte's doing an interview. For at least the second time in the past week, a wrestler had to identify the interviewer by name.
Yeah.
Just backwards. So, Charlotte, I'm sure most of you are aware, a total asshole heel now.
Oh, yeah.
No ambiguity.
No.
No shades of gray. She's a dick. She says, I love to humiliate Becky. It's my favorite thing to do. Becky got herself suspended. I am the best wrestler. And now I am going to watch Ruby Riott and Ronda Rousey to see who I will face at WrestleMania. So we got Ruby Riott and Ronda Rousey.
I got to talk about this for a second.
All right.
Ronda gets a mixed reaction coming out. So everybody that thought she'd just be booed out of the building, she's still getting half cheers. I don't even know how. So they get in the ring.
I'll tell you how. Matches like this.
They get in the ring. Well, she doesn't do a lot of matches like this. The match goes 1 minute and 40 seconds. She beats Ruby Riott's ass, and she armbars her and submits her.
Fucking awesome.
Okay?
This is great.
Boy, did I have to hear the weirdos on Twitter after this match. Why did they bury Ruby Riott? If Ronda's going to kill someone, why didn't she kill somebody lower on the roster? All right, listen to me, everybody. Nobody thought Ruby Riott had a chance.
Oh.
Did one person think that Ruby Riott had any chance of beating Ronda Rousey? How in God's name does it help Ronda Rousey, who's main eventing WrestleMania? This is not about Ruby Riott, it's about Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
How does it help Ronda Rousey to go in there and go 50-50 for 12 minutes with Ruby Riott?
Would not be a good thing.
It doesn't help her one fucking bit, okay? Given the audience that they have right now that will defend anything, how does this fucking hurt Ruby Riott? It doesn't. She lost a match. Who gives a shit? She'll be back tomorrow. She'll be in charge of the Riott Squad. She'll win some matches. Everyone's going to forget about this. It's not the end of her fucking career. As far as, like, well, if Ronda's going to do this, why not beat someone lower on the roster? Why would Ronda Rousey be facing somebody lower on the roster in a fucking championship match on pay-per-view? You fuckers should be lucky that Ruby Riott got a championship match on pay-per-view. Yeah, she lost, but you know what? She was in a championship match on a pay-per-view. Ronda should be beating everybody like this.
Yes.
So it ain't the end of the world for Ruby Riott. She's not being fucking buried. Her career is not ruined. It was a loss. I seem to recall, like I think it was the Royal Rumble, like Liv Morgan ran in and was thrown right out in like 2 seconds, okay? Did that fucking ruin Liv Morgan? No, nobody even remembered the next day. It's gonna be fine. The story, WrestleMania, is about Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky. Everybody else, it doesn't fucking matter. Those are the three that it's about. And they're trying to build those three up. Period. Everyone else is a body in the way right now.
Ruby Riott, her body was in the way.
It was in the way.
A bad day to be Ruby Riott. But I thoroughly enjoyed this, as I want to see in pro wrestling. Violence and destruction. So, Charlotte and Ronda are having a stare down. I wrote Charlotte and Becky, which is clearly wrong. Charlotte and Ronda are having a stare down, and Becky comes through the crowd on crutches. And it was funny because the first people who realized The first people who realized Becky was coming through the crowd were, in fact, Charlotte and Ronda. There was no reaction. The announcers weren't saying anything. All you could tell is that Charlotte and Ronda were no longer looking at each other. They were looking at the crowd. And then here comes Becky on her crutches. She just comes through the crowd, makes her way into the ring. The announcers are saying, well, maybe she bought a ticket. Well, now she's in ringside. Why is no one stopping her? We don't know what's going on. No one stopped her. No explanation. She just did. And she gets in the ring, and for a moment, there is a three-way stare down. And then I guess Becky just caught Charlotte with her guard down and hit her really hard with a crutch.
She threw one crutch at her and then hit her with the other one.
And then she hit her with a crutch again. And again and again, and again, and again and again and again, and again and again and again, and beat her and beat her and beat her and beat her and beat her. So Ronda's just sitting back enjoying the show. And finally, Becky is satisfied with the beating she's delivered to Charlotte. Now she and Ronda have a stare down. Ronda also has a crutch now to defend herself. But Becky decides, my fight is not with you. It is with Charlotte and this damn company that will give me the title match I earned at the Royal Rumble. So she goes to leave. Ronda goes to, I guess, murder Charlotte. But then Becky hits Ronda from behind and beats her and beats her and beats her again and again and again. Busts her open with a crutch, bleeding from the head.
Yeah, because when you get hit with anything, like you need to present a safe part of your body for the other person to hit you with whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Ronda's selling by just like contorting all over the place. And Becky's trying not to hit her in a bad spot, but Ronda will duck her head and she'll turn, she'll lift up, and she kept getting hit in the head by this fucking crutch.
There was one point where during the beating, Ronda got her hands in the other crutch and was trying to use it to block the attack, and that may have been as real a fight as anything Ronda ever did in the octagon at that moment. So, eventually, Becky gets taken away, Ronda's all busted up, Charlotte's destroyed. This was effective.
It was effective, but it didn't get a giant reaction. It got a good reaction, but not a giant reaction. Because it's just a little bit like everybody loves Becky, but when they try to make her into Stone Cold Steve Austin, problem is Vince is an old man, and he's not going back and watching these things. There's no way he's going back and watching the Retro Raws. I don't think he remembers how he got Steve Austin over. Like, Steve Austin would never jump someone from behind. He might offer them a beer, but then he's going to boot them in the stomach face to face. Becky here goes, hey, Ronda, why didn't you beat the hell out of Charlotte? And Ronda goes to beat the hell out of her, and Becky attacks her from behind with a crutch and then beats the hell out of her. Like, I know what he's trying to do, but he's not remembering what Steve Austin was. Steve Austin was an anti-hero, but he was not a heel. Becky, he's booking her as a heel. And luckily the people love her so much that they're not turning on her. But this could have been better.
Yeah. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. By this point in the show, I was totally bored, and so were the...
How the fuck could you not be?
And so were the announcers.
Braun Strowman and Baron fucking Corbin.
So these,
in a no DQ match.
These two big giant monsters Baron is attacking Braun with a stick. He's hitting him with a stick over and over again. This is carnage. This is violence. This is assault. Michael Cole's reaction is to say, Baron Corbin will be in the Houston, not the Astrodome, whatever the hell the new baseball stadium is called, for the Royal Rumble next year. Maybe Baron Corbin should play for the Astros. It's a big joke to him that this guy is attacking another guy with a stick.
Because he sucks.
I know.
Just wanted to clear that up.
So, as is the case in I think every single Braun Strowman match I've ever seen, he missed a charge and ran into something for the heat. Let's see. He slammed Corbin through a table in the ring. At this point, McIntyre, and Lashley came out with chairs. And hey, it's a no DQ match. God bless them for doing the smart thing. The heel got his buddies to get weapons, and they ganged up on the monster. They beat him with chairs for like 10 minutes.
Because Braun Strowman is an idiot babyface. He had no friends.
As Corey Graves pointed out,
Yep.
Braun Strowman has no friends.
Why would you bother saying that to make it even more obvious what a fucking loser this guy is?
Maybe that's the story.
This fucking idiot Braun just gets triple teamed for an hour.
It goes on forever.
There's no Finn Balor, who we know is okay. He never got beat up.
He's fine.
They've been buddies before.
Yeah.
Like, literally, nobody comes out to help this guy. They beat his ass for an hour. They powerbomb him through the steps, through 2 chairs or 2 tables, and he's dead and he's pinned. Do you realize that they sold tickets to the Royal Rumble for months, advertising Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman? And in a blatant bait and switch, Vince decided, God damn, I don't want to pin this guy again. Take him out of the match, put Finn Balor in. So Finn Balor got his spot. Finn Balor goes in there, loses to Brock Lesnar. And a fucking month later, Vince decides it's okay for Braun to get pinned by Baron fucking Corbin. I realized he was triple teamed, but he came off like such a geek. No friends, no plan, no backup, beaten.
We'll bring up Austin again, as far as when you say no plan. Steve Austin also had no friends.
But he always had a plan.
He had a plan. He was ready for whatever sneaky trick the Bastards. If there were 2 guys coming with chairs, he'd have had 3 snakes under the ring or something.
Yeah, he outsmarted
a monster
everybody.
truck or something.
Who did Braun outsmart here? Nobody. The heels outsmarted the babyface. They were smarter than the babyface.
Yeah.
The babyface was a dumb shit.
Yes.
That's what happened here.
He deserved the beating he got. The Special Olympics are coming to Abu Dhabi. Got a promo for that. Backstage, doctors are attending to Shane. Miz is remorseful, beside himself with guilt for costing his team the tag titles. He freaks out and has a tantrum. Shane has to try to calm him down, calls him Mike, tells him to chill out and go home, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Can't wait for this storyline to continue.
Lacey Evans comes out, and I guess that's all that happened.
Yes, she walked out,
Her
and then
is
she
playing.
walked away.
She comes out like a catwalk. She's all strutting and posing.
You fucking asked me 10 minutes later, where did Lacey Evans go?
I forgot.
She literally walked out
There was a commercial.
and then walked away.
There was a commercial, and during the commercial, I thought, well, we'll see what's happening after the commercial.
No, she walked out before the commercial.
Yeah.
No, she walked out on the ramp and then went backstage.
Okay,
and then they went to a commercial.
I must have assumed. I foolish me for giving them the benefit of the doubt of thinking there would be a point to something.
Yes, you were foolish for that.
I had to imagine that there would be a point to this.
No.
They wouldn't just send her out to have her come back for no reason.
They sent her out and she went away.
Why?
Because she's bringing class, Vinny, to this pay-per-view. That's what they said. What do you want me to do? Why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at this.
She's not been
Do
seen.
you realize how awful this show was until the main event?
She has not been
This
seen.
is a fucking terrible show until the main event.
Yeah, not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but I've seen way worse shows than this. And the main event was good.
The main event was good.
Although there were also some weird things in this match. Oh, by the way, hey, I want to say something here, okay? This is very important for me to say, Vinny.
I'm listening.
As you shake your head, you'll understand. You're thinking the same thing right now. I've been here all night.
I'm not shaking my head at you.
Yeah, you are. Now listen to me, you fucker.
You'll know when I'm shaking my head at you.
So, between the bell ringing for Braun Strowman's match and the bell ringing for the beginning of the Elimination Chamber match here. 22 minutes, I believe, of filler occurred. I actually have it on Twitter, the exact amount. I believe it was 22 minutes. It was between 20 and 22 minutes passed where nothing happened.
Yeah.
There was a commercial. There was a commercial. Lacey Evans came out. There was a commercial. There was a commercial. They did a whole bunch of entrances. 20 minutes of nothing, okay? This is not Raw. This is a WWE pay-per-view event. They can go as long or as short as they want to, right?
I believe so, yes.
This, I know they want to do 3.5 to 4 hour shows. You don't have to. The show should go as long as it needs to go, and no longer. If you have one match left and you're only 2 hours in, then you know what? Maybe the show's only going to go 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's fucking okay. Your stock price tomorrow is not going to drop $10 a share. It ain't going to make a shit's worth of difference. In fact, your fans will probably be happy that the show's over early for once. But they want to go long, and so when that match was over at the 2 hour and 15 minute mark, they had to give us 20 minutes of filler to make sure that the main event went 40 minutes or whatever it went. I don't even know how long it went. I can tell you right now. The main event went 36 minutes and 20 seconds, okay? They would have been over before the top of the hour. But we can't have that. So we had 20 minutes of filler we didn't need. The show just needs to go as long as it needs to go and not 1 second longer. Period.
So the main event was the Elimination Chamber.
Notice I stopped talking when I made my point. Go ahead.
Talking about the reference to me? Or?
No, it's just in general. Like, I made my point. I'm done. We're moving on here.
Your rant went as long as it needed to go.
Yes, and not a second longer.
Okay. Kofi Kingston versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan in an Elimination Chamber match. Bryan's cutting this promo. He's the last one to come out on the ramp.
Another one. We got to stretch this out more. I'm going to talk here for a while.
Especially since he had nothing new to say.
He had nothing to say, and then they got rid of the vintner, and it's like, they're in a goddamn chamber.
With a roof.
What the fuck is a vintner going to do? They're going to throw wine through the fucking thing?
And they mentioned this.
Yeah, like, why does he have to leave? But do you want to waste some more time?
I guess, or more likely they just don't think about anything.
Or they figured if we get rid of the vintner, everybody's going to think Luke Harper's going to show up, and we'll swerve him. Anyway, they just wasted more time.
Whatever. So, Samoa Joe has a mullet. I don't know how this news did not fly across my radar already.
It's an awesome mullet.
Samoa Joe has a mullet, everyone. He and Bryan just had fun stiffing the hell out of each other for 5 minutes. It was awesome.
Yep, that idiot Tom Phillips, who I actually have claimed is the best announcer they have on the main roster. He had to prove me wrong by alerting us there are no rope breaks here in this no DQ match, which ends up fucking up the whole match.
Tremendous. Kofi is the third man in. He immediately performs a Shadows over Hell.
Yeah, remember that move?
And Graves notes he's feeling delirious. That was a great line.
That was a good one.
Bryan tries to hide up on top of a pod. He climbs up there and just sits down.
Kofi, by the way, the most over guy on the show.
Yes.
More than Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Kofi chants all night long.
Maybe Bryan is a heel, more heel heat. But
Yeah.
yes, most popular was definitely Kofi. So Bryan tries to hide on top of a pod because he's a smart man. But Kofi has great leaping ability. And he jumps up there and gets him. And they're brawling outside. And Kofi climbed the cage where he had a point, which was to dive backwards onto both of them. And then Joe did a senton onto Bryan's hip that actually looked significantly worse than Kofi's dive off the cage.
Kofi's dive off the cage, it looks so cool, but it's so dumb.
Yes.
He does a trust fall.
I'm going to fall.
A trust fall, the very name of it, the word trust is in there. You must trust your friends to catch you.
Yeah.
Why would you do a trust fall on enemies? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot of faith in your enemies.
While we're going off on this, it also doesn't help when your enemies are just standing there with their hands down, just looking up at you, waiting to fall down on them.
Yes.
And I love Bryan. I love Joe. This all could have been done better. So yeah, AJ comes in at number 4. He's running wild. Here is a point. Daniel Bryan climbed the cage specifically so AJ could do a flying forearm and hit him in the back.
Yeah, I don't know why Bryan was climbing this cage. He was climbing in the middle. It wasn't even like trying to get to a pod.
No.
He's just climbing up. I'm going to climb this cage. God damn, there's a cage here.
I'll say it again.
I must climb it.
There had to be some candy up at the top. So Joe nearly has Kofi choked out.
A vegan cupcake, I'm sure.
That's true. Yeah. A meat stick, perhaps. He's vegan. Yeah. Anyway, I screwed up.
You butchered that joke.
I absolutely butchered that joke. So Joe nearly has Kofi beat, but Kofi escapes the chokehold.
Even if he wasn't a vegan, why did you come up with a meat stick?
Because I have been avoiding candy for months, and so when I want a snack, I grab a meat stick.
I see. Okay.
Now, that's an explanation for why I said something so stupid.
At least it's been explained.
It was a stupid thing to say.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to run away from or deny this.
Okay.
I will own that fuck up.
Thank you.
How were we? AJ pinned Joe. Did I say that?
Yeah, I was baffled.
AJ pinned Joe
I
with
was
a forearm.
baffled and furious. Crowd booed.
Yeah.
They booed on Tuesday when Kofi Kingston pinned Joe. And they loved Kofi. They're getting mad that they're not doing anything with this guy. Good.
Jeff Hardy's number 5. He's not in there for very long. He has one big spot where AJ is laid out across the top rope in the corner, and Jeff goes off the top of a pod. He does the senton to AJ, but then just rolls through, basically almost lands on his feet in the ring. Like a totally safe thing to do. He's got a huge reaction. And then as soon as he lands, Bryan hits him with a knee strike and pins him.
Yeah.
So he's gone. We have Orton in as the last man. He hits some RKOs, but doesn't get a chance to pin anybody. And then AJ, AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm. I don't think he was even trying to hit Orton. Orton got in the way and grabbed him, and he didn't do the RKO in midair. He grabbed him on the ropes and RKO'd him off the ropes and pinned him.
Cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
So we're down to Kofi, Randy, and Bryan. And Kofi and Randy go back and forth a bit, which just occurred to me that's Kofi's biggest singles push was a feud with Randy Orton.
Yeah, and he was so over, and then they just killed him.
And then 10 years have passed. So Kofi dodges an RKO here, hits Trouble in Paradise, and pins Randy. Now it is down to the final 2. It is Daniel Bryan, champion, versus Kofi Kingston, challenger. And people liked Kofi up to this point, and they were into the match up to this point, but as soon as I got down to final 2, the intensity got cranked up 80 degrees.
Yeah, because they thought that these people believed, even though everybody knows how WWE books 90% of the time, and Kofi pinned Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, and they were going basically for their 50-50 rematch right here. Everybody still thought, you know what, maybe that guy from the New Day that throws pancakes into the crowd, whose own partner on Twitter acknowledged they'd been doing nothing but goof off for 4 years, might win the WWE Championship. Kofi deserves a hell of a lot of credit, and Daniel Bryan for that, for convincing people that there might be a title change here.
Amen. So they went, 10 minutes on their own, just one-on-one.
It was the best thing on the show.
It was awesome. It was just awesome. We're at this point 20 minutes or more into the match, 25 minutes probably, and so there's no need to do any warm-ups or feeling out process. They just start hitting big moves and near falls, and it's great. We had the SOS gets a near fall. Kofi stomp out of the corner gets a near fall. The knee strike, which hardly anyone ever kicks out of, gets a near fall. A series of just a big brutal stomps to the head gets a near fall.
And then they did the dumbest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my life. With one of the smartest workers in the world in there, Daniel Bryan. On Tuesday on SmackDown, Bryan and Kofi are wrestling, and the vintner gets sent away, and Bryan is distracted. Bryan turns around, and Kofi hits him with Trouble in Paradise and pins him clean in the middle and eliminates him. So here on this show, they're battling back and forth. They're hitting all their moves. Kofi Kingston hits the Trouble in Paradise again. The same move which he pinned Daniel Bryan with on Tuesday, and Bryan no-sells it and cradles him. What?
Okay, there's a lot to talk about here. You're right. You're right about all of it. It was the same thing.
What?
Daniel Bryan here was trying to do the same finish Miz had done earlier. Kofi hits his finish and goes for a cover, and Bryan reverses the cover to a cradle of his own. It's the same thing.
What in the world was that? If they start doing this on every show, I quit. If they want to run me off, this is how to do it.
On top of all that, we have already seen on the show that they will do this finish. They will have a guy hit his move and then get pinned. It's
Yes.
that precedent has been established,
set.
okay?
Yes.
Kofi hits the Trouble in Paradise. He goes for the cover. Bryan grabs him, cradles him, reversals him instead. The referee counts 1, and they cut to a crowd shot.
That was a big mistake. I will presume that someone accidentally pushed the wrong button at the wrong time. That's too big a mistake.
I was beside myself.
That was too big a mistake.
What is happening?
It was horrifying, don't get me wrong, but that was definitely not done on purpose. Somebody sneezed and hit the button with their head or something like that.
So it was not the finish. Match continues.
No, and Bryan didn't even sell it after the guy kicked out. He was right back on his feet.
He was 100%.
After hitting the Trouble in Paradise, dude. He got pinned with that on Tuesday. Then they do the label lock, and Kofi fights to the ropes, and Bryan just breaks the hold. After Tom Phillips alerted us, hey, there ain't no rope breaks in this match. It's no DQ. And the fans chanted, "This is awesome," immediately afterwards.
Yeah. So they were fighting on top of a pod. They teased suplexes off the pod, which might have been fatal. They found a safe way to get Bryan to tumble to the mat, and then Kofi goes for the splash off the pod. This is it, he says. I've got him down. This is my one chance. It's all or nothing. I'm going to hit this move. I'm going to pin this bastard, and I'm going to be the WWE champion. It's like the most logical time to ever try a splash off the pod ever. And in fact, a callback to the very first Elimination Chamber when Rob Van Dam tried one.
That's right.
Off the top of a pod and nearly killed Triple
He
H
almost
legit.
killed Hunter, yeah.
Yeah. So, fortunately, it's the new chamber. It's much easier to do splashes off now. He goes flying high in the air. He goes crashing down, and there's no water in the pool. The champion has dodged. The challenger has crashed. And he struggles to his feet, Kofi does, and he turns around, and Bryan waffles him with that knee, and he pins him. That was a hell of a one-on-one struggle at the end.
I realize I ranted for 5 minutes about that stupid Trouble in Paradise spot, but if you take that out of this match, I adored this match. It was awesome. Best thing on the show by far. New Day come down afterwards to tend to Kofi. Everyone's chanting, "Thank you, Kofi." He's getting a standing ovation. Am I the only guy on this planet that thought that they were going to turn on him?
I mean,
It didn't cross your mind?
it didn't, but it would make sense. It would have made some sense.
I thought for sure we were going to end with heat. I was positive.
There's that too.
I was positive.
There is that too. The chamber entrance is they bring the special steps to the side. There's a great big wide door, and I don't think it's an accident that they sat there with Kofi in the middle and his two buddies kind of kneeling beside him, and they're all proud but also sad, and the WrestleMania logo still up in between them, clear as day. The WrestleMania sign. So there you go. That was it.
Yeah, that saved the show, baby.
That pretty much did.
That was a very, very, very good match. And we'll see what they do with Kofi. They got to do something with the guy now. They
do have to.
This was supposed to be the Mustafa Ali spot. This poor guy got hurt. He got Becky lynched. This was going to be the biggest push. And just like at Survivor Series, he got hurt. And I wonder if that's why Joe was out so early. Because I think it was the match with Joe where Mustafa Ali got hurt and taken out of this match. House show match.
Maybe.
Anyway, he lost his spot to Kofi.
I thought it was Randy Orton stomped in the face.
No, that was at TV, but they sent him out afterwards. He got hurt again the next Sunday.
I see.
That's twice. So, yeah, I wonder what they'll do. Maybe it'll be Kofi and Mustafa Ali. But I guess Mustafa would have to turn. I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but I hope they do a follow-up with Kofi, because this can't just be the end.
Well,
I mean, it can, because it's WWE.
As I understand it, there's still one more pay-per-view before Mania.
Yeah, they could do Bryan and Kofi. They're 1-1. Mm-hmm. They are 1-1, so you could do that match with some sort of stip. What would the stip be? It has a clean finish both times. Can't think of one. Best of 3 falls.
They haven't actually had a one-on-one match yet.
Yeah, well, kind of. The Gauntlet was sort of a one.
Were they the first ones?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that counts.
Together.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, with that, we're out of time. I'll be back later on tonight with Dave to recap the show and talk all of the news, as well as the UFC show. So you can look forward to that. And that's it, everybody. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Adios.